Hello everyone, I'm Lucian and welcome to the Discover China livestream. I'm right here at the Temple of Heaven, one of China's most important historical sites. And to show us around today is my very good friend Mr. Zhang, who will be touring us around the Temple of Heaven.
Hi,
So
Lucian.
good to see you.
Nice to meet you. Hello.
So, Mr. Zhang, I've seen that icon, that image so many times. What can you tell me about it?
那么大家面前这座建筑呢，就是祈年殿。那么它呢，不仅是天坛的标志，也是北京的标志，而且呢，它的形象在多种多样的 logo 当中都会频繁的用到。
Ah, okay, so it's like that. So apparently this is not the Temple of Heaven itself, this is the Hall of Prayer of Good Harvests. It's the entire complex that is called the Temple of Heaven. Actually, I made this mistake myself many times.
那么有许多人呢都会认为这个祈年殿就是天坛啊，但实际上呢，这个祈年殿只是天坛的一小部分。那么整个天坛呢，也都体现了中国古人的劳动和智慧的结晶。那么今天呢，咱们就一起来探索一下关于祈年殿的奥秘。
I'm really looking forward to it. So he's going to be showing us this hall and then other parts of the Temple of Heaven itself. So let's go.
好了。那在咱们一开始参观祈年殿的时候呢，先给您介绍一下祈年殿的概况。那祈年殿呢是建成于公元1420年，所以说到今年呢已经有600多年的历史了。那整个祈年殿呢，它是明清两代用于祭祀的地方。那祈年殿呢是它的建成时间是和故宫是一样的。当然一开始的时候祈年殿不长这个样子，那后来呢经过几次修缮之后，才形成了今天咱们所说的祈年殿。
Ah, I see. Okay, so my understanding is what he tells me is that this was built at the same time of the Forbidden City, correct?
Yes.
So it's around over 600 years old now, which is, I mean, that's incredible as a number, right? And it's held a very strong cultural place in China for the Chinese people and in Beijing as well. So, being so old, it's actually gone through a few renovations, most recently by the Tianlong Emperor during the Qing dynasty. But ultimately, it's always looked pretty similar to this,
yes.
right?
哎 ，Lucy， 你知不知道中国有一句俗话叫做"国之大事，在祀与戎"。
Well, that's very advanced Chinese, but I'll take a guess at it. So I'm guessing that it means warfare and sacrifice are the most important things for a country. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. That's correct.
Okay, so I mean, particularly when the name of this hall is called the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests, it seems to me then that sacrifice is for hoping that there will be a good year of agriculture. Yes. Is that right?
So that's why they built this structure here. 那么天坛呢，曾经也是中国最为神圣的存在之一。那么在古代的时候呢，有22位皇帝在这里举行过600多次祭天大典。那么天坛呢，直到1918年才开辟成公园，所以说呢，到现在开辟成公园才只有100多年。
Ah, okay. So what he's telling me is that they've had over 600 sacrificial ceremonies here across 22 under 22 emperors,
yes.
right? And then each sacrificial ceremony is once a year.
More than once a year,
More
or
than
once a year. That's,
okay.
That's okay.
Okay, over once a year. So that actually makes sense then when it's over 600 years old, plus around over 600 ceremonies. I think that's actually so interesting because it really shows how important sacrifice and agriculture are here. And also this site is now public. And it's been open for about 100 years or so, is that correct?
More than 100 years.
Over 100 years
Since
now.
1918.
So it's 1918, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, just over 100 years it's been a public space. So can you tell me about this very, very spectacular carvings?
Sure. 大家可以看到呢，在这个面前咱们是有3座浮雕。那么这3座浮雕呢，大家可以看到它的样式有所不同。那下面这块浮雕呢，叫做瑞云山海，是云彩和山。那么中间这块浮雕呢是2只凤凰，然后呢最上面的浮雕是2只龙。
Ah, okay. So it's separated into 3 sections.
Yeah, 3 sections.
The bottom is mountains and clouds. The second is 2 phoenixes, and on the third and the highest, it's actually 2 dragons.
所以这里面表现出了龙和凤飞在祥云之上，是一种非常吉祥的意思。
Ah, so it's showing that dragons and phoenixes actually flying together.
好了，现在呢，咱们就来到了祈鼓坛的正中心，来到了祈年殿的最上层。那么咱们可以往边上看一看，是不是感觉整个地方是非常空旷、非常大的？
So we've come to the top actually of the Temple of Heaven, and you can actually feel it. It's such a big space. If you look around, there's this actually very large park, lots of trees and greenery around.
那么其实呢，中国自古以来就是个农业大国，所以说呢，农业对于中国人来讲是非常重要的。所以说呢，中国古人呢就要向上天祈祷，来祈求一年的丰收。所以说呢，就建造了这样的祈年殿。
So agriculture has been, for most of China's existence, very, very important. I mean, absolutely vital, as it is today, though, right? And so people really relied on spirituality to encourage good harvests. So ancient people attached great importance to sacrifice, to ritual, to ensuring that they have a good harvest.
Yes, sure. It's very important for them. 那么咱们在这里呢，可以看到整个大殿呢是有3层房檐，层层向上收缩。那么房檐上面呢盖的都是蓝色的瓦片。Lucia， 你知道为什么咱们这儿要盖蓝色的瓦片吗？
So he's telling me that this is actually divided into 3 sections, and he's also asking me about the blue tiles on top. And he asks me why it's blue. And I'm going to take a guess that the blue represents the sky.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. OK， 实际上这个蓝色呢就代表蓝天。那么咱们这边呢，祈年殿因为是向上天祭祀、祈求丰收的地方，所以呢，祈年殿的屋顶就要用蓝色的瓦片来覆盖。那么在咱们天坛呢，其他的地方也有很多都是蓝色的瓦片，都是这种纯净的天蓝色。
It's so beautiful, and actually it's really interesting how they use this blue to represent the sky, these beautiful blue glazed tiles. It's a very unique color here, because I've been to other temples and other places around China, and sometimes they use red or yellow like at the Forbidden City.
Yeah, but they will never use the color blue.
So this is actually a very rare color to use
Yes.
in any
in
temple.
Chinese culture.
In Chinese culture.
Yes.
Ah, I see. So wow.
好了，那咱们来这边呢看一下祈年殿的内部结构。那么整个祈年殿呢里面是没有用到钉子的，那么整个大殿呢都是用榫卯叠插起来的。
So that's really incredible. So he's talking about the actual structure and how it was created, the architecture, and apparently they don't use any metal and no nails, right?
No nails.
That's incredible. Look at the size of this, right? It's so
very huge structure.
Massive. And to have not used any nails and no metal, right?
No, and not any nails.
That's incredible.
那么古人呢，在不使用钉子的情况下，就是用里面的这些柱子来承托这个大殿的重量。那么这些柱子一共是有28根。
So 28 columns.
28 columns.
28 columns all together, including inside and outside.
Inside and outside, yes. Okay. 那我们可以看到，在这边有一种这个红色的柱子，上面画着金色花纹的，它呢一共是有4根，是代表着一年的4个季节。
Okay, so actually looking inside, probably the most eye-catching are these 4 super big columns there, which have gold plating, gold gilding on them, and these 4 represent the seasons. Is that right?
4 seasons.
4 columns for the 4 seasons.
那么您还可以看到呢，在大殿里面有一种纯红色的柱子，那么它们呢是一共12根，代表着一年的12个月份。
So inside as well, if you look closely, there are 12 smaller columns, and they represent the 12 months of the year.
那么咱们在这边呢，还可以看到有这种在连接窗户的这种外围的柱子，它们呢叫做檐柱，也是一共有12根，是代表着一天的12个时辰。
And these are the outside ones, right?
The outside ones.
Okay, so
yes.
there's also 12 columns on the outside, which represent the 12 时辰, which is it's actually in the ancient Chinese culture they would divide a day into 12.
Yeah, into 12
Right.
sections.
12 sections.
One
so,
section equals to 2 hours.
Yeah. So in the way that we think of 1 hour today, a day divided into 24, they would divide it into 12, and so 2 of our modern hours is 1 of their older hours. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. That's very interesting.
Yeah. 那现在呢，咱们就来看一看这个大殿的内部陈设。我们可以看到，在正中央呢摆放的是皇天上帝的神位，就是那个底色是蓝色的。那么它呢上面用满汉2种文字书写着“皇天上帝”。
God, that's so beautiful. Okay, so what he's showing us now is the actual setup of the inside. So there's a stone tablet, right?
Wood.
Oh, it's a
made by
wooden
wood,
tablet.
by wood.
What
yes.
does it actually say?
皇天上帝 means God of heaven.
Ah, God of heaven. And then there are also some blue vases and some other vessels there.
Yeah.
What do they do exactly?
他们在古代的时候就是为了盛放祭品的。那个祭品呢，包括一些粮食啊，还有酒等等，在祭祀的时候呢，会奉献给神仙。
Ah, so they're actually in the blue vessels and vases. They actually put some offerings out there, which is offerings to God Himself.
好了，那咱们往这边走。那么
This
咱们
place is just so incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when the weather's good and
Yeah.
if you come here and visit, it's a very enjoyable time for
Yeah.
you.
I mean, with these very blue Beijing skies and these blue roofs as well.
Yeah,
And this is really, this really is one of the most famous icons, not just of Beijing, but of China.
Even the whole world.
In the whole world. And I've seen it on posters and postcards and all
books
sorts of things.
or-
Yeah.
So
God,
it's
it
very
must
famous.
be a real honor to work here.
Yeah,
Right, see this every day.
that's how I feel. 那么咱们可以看到呢，这个大殿是一个圆形的建筑。那么为什么要把它建成圆形呢？是因为中国古人认为天圆地方。那古人认为呢，这个天是圆的，它周而复始，循环往复，承载着一切。那么地呢又是方形的，它是静态的，是承载万物的。所以说呢，中国古人呢就把这个建筑做成了一个圆形，代表天。
Ah, so the round shape it's actually quite unusual, right?
Yes,
I
very
don't think
unusual.
I've seen it many times before, and it represents heaven.
Heaven, yes.
So in the ancient Chinese understanding, heaven was round
Yeah, and earth was square.
and earth was square. So heaven was round and it's kind of moving in this endless circle,
Endless circle, yes.
right? And then earth is square, and they're stable and solid, and they stay in one place.
Yeah, so the earth will hold the people. Yeah. 所以说呢，这个大殿就是圆形的。
Very, very incredible.
是的。那咱们可以看到，现在呢面前有一道大门，这个门呢叫做祈年门。这个祈年门呢就是这个祈鼓坛的正门，它是咱们天坛里面最古老的门之一，有600多年了。
Wow, so what we're looking at right now is the gate
Of prayer for good
of
harvest.
prayer for good harvests. And it's massive. Look how big these doors are. I mean, this is huge.
Yeah, this is very
No,
huge.
this is it's just massive, and look, it's so thick. And really, it's very, very thick, and it's just so awe-inspiring.
Yeah, it is also made of wood.
And this is all wood, right?
wood.
Everything's made of wood.
Yeah, everything's made of wood.
Everything made of wood. Incredible. And so now we're heading. So I can actually see what looks like a road through here.
咱们面前呢，这个前面要走的一条道路呢，叫做单壁桥。
Ah, that means 桥.
对，
桥 means bridge.
Yeah, 桥 means bridge.
So it's not a road then.
对，这个地方呢，实际上咱们说它是一座桥，但看起来像是一条道路。那为什么它叫桥呢？咱们到前面，然后咱们再给大家解释。
Okay, so what he's telling me is, even though it looks like a road, it's in fact a bridge.
A bridge, yeah.
Right, and I can actually see it's divided into different sections. What's the explanation behind that?
那么咱们可以看到，在单壁桥上分成了3条道路。中间最宽阔的呢是神仙走的，叫神路。
Ah, okay. So the middle road is called 神路, road of God, or the road for
The
God.
road for God, yeah, for God of heaven. 那么在左边的这条路呢，叫做玉路，是皇帝走的。然后右边这条路呢，叫王路，是王公大臣走的。
Ah, so the road on the
Left
is for the emperor,
for the emperor, yes.
and the road on the right is for the high officials.
Yeah, officials.
But so what about the middle road? So that's, you say it's called the road for God.
Yeah,
Then the emperor can't go on there, or what?
yes. 如果是在这个 故宫里面，皇帝是走中间的，但是这里边是天坛，所以天神要走中间。
Oh, that's very interesting. So in the Forbidden City, the middle road, in the Forbidden City, the emperor can actually walk on the middle road because he can take the place of honor. But here, the emperor is in second place,
Yeah, second
and
place.
God is at the highest. That's very interesting. So this road, I mean, really, no one was allowed on.
It was used for the officials who hold the tablets of the God of Heaven to walk on the central way.
I see. So actually, they would personify God into a tablet, and this would symbolize God.
Yes, symbolize God. Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting indeed.
那来到这里呢，这个可以给大家揭秘一下啊，为什么咱们这个单臂桥要叫做桥啊？大家可以看到呢，在这个下面
So he's showing us why it's called a bridge.
这里有一个隧道，它形成了一个圈洞。那么这个圈洞呢，正是因为有这个圈洞，所以说呢，整个这个单臂桥才叫桥。
So so you can see this passage down here, and this is why it's called bridge. And where does this passage go to?
It goes through west to the east of the bridge.
So underneath through there.
Underneath through that.
Okay.
正是因为这个圈洞呢，咱们这个地方才叫单臂桥。
Okay. So for this reason, it's called the Danby Bridge. And what was the bridge used for exactly?
This bridge was used for the emperors and God of Heaven and officials to work on. It connects the two parts in the Temple of Heaven.
Okay.
The Hall of Prayer for Good Harvest and the circular Mount altar, which we're about to visit next time.
And actually, very curious as well about the tunnel itself. What's the tunnel for?
This tunnel was used for the animals to pass. Because in the old days, those sacrificial animals would be kept in the west, and they would be made into sacrifices in the east. So the animals had to gone through this tunnel from west to east.
So, okay, so there's a very big symbolism here from east to west, right? And then people wouldn't have gone through that gate, through that tunnel. Sorry.
No people will go through.
And they just make the animals go through themselves.
Make the animal go through.
Okay. And is there another name for this tunnel?
Gate of Hell.
Wow.
It's a very terrible name.
Yeah, it's an awful name, isn't it? Okay. So I'm guessing these sacrifices must have been a very big deal.
Yes, it's
right?
very important for ancient Chinese people.
With a lot of ceremony.
Ceremony.
So not just a lot of people, but there must have been maybe I don't know, some music, some dancing, something like that.
Yeah, sure. 在古代的时候，这个祭祀的仪式呢，要伴随着一些音乐。这个音乐呢，叫做中和韶乐。中和呢，就是中庸的意思，然后韶乐呢，就是传统音乐。那么二者结合到一起，就是祭祀用的音乐。
So 中和 is 中 means central. 和 means peace. Right?
Peace and
harmony.
Harmony.
And 韶乐, what does that mean? Exactly?
Traditional music.
Traditional music. So traditional music that was
harmony.
That was made just for
the sacrificial
ceremonies. Wow, that's.
你知道孔子吗，陆先
Yes. So he's asking me about 孔子, which is Confucius.
Yes, right? Confucius. 他是一个非常伟大的哲学家，也是一个教育家。那么传说呢，他特别喜欢这个中和韶乐。曾经是在听过中和韶乐之后，据说是3个月内都在吃肉都没有什么味道。
Okay, so Confucius is one of the very, very famous philosophers of China, and it's said that after hearing the music, this 中和韶乐, he felt that it was so beautiful that even eating meat was tasteless for him for 3 months.
Okay, so you can see that there are a lot of procedures and rituals for the sacrificial ceremony in the old days.
Yeah. I mean, I think because sacrifice then, it must have been like just a huge thing. I mean, they built this huge complex.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you could really feel it's very big. Like we've now walked about, I don't know, from there So here it's about 100 meters, and we haven't. This is only the middle of the complex. I
yes,
guess,
it's
right?
only part
How
of this.
long is this whole complex?
It's about 360 meters long.
So 360. So it's not a small park, right? It's very
very
big.
huge one.
So they obviously spent a lot of investment, a lot of time, a lot of money building this.
Yes.
And you can just see just how important it was. So do you guys now still know about how the sacrificial ceremonies they actually were held?
Yes. There are some ancient books or kept a record of those sacrificial ceremonies. So when you read those books, and you may know that how people in the old days would pray to the God of heaven, in a very calm mood. Even the emperors, when he come here to pray to the God of heaven, he had to keep himself in the calm and cannot deal with state affairs. And he had to live here for about 3 days, and then he can went to the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvest to pray.
Wow! So it was so important for him that even the affairs of state, whether it's war, whether it's economy, all of this stuff,
it's not important.
It's not important.
It's less important than the sacrificial ceremony.
Wow. Okay.
现在我们就来到了城真门。
So this is 城真门。
城真门。
城真 Gate.
Yes, 城真 Gate. 那么这座城真门呢，就是南北两个祭坛的分界线。那么它呢，既是南边圆丘坛的北门，也是北边旗鼓坛的南门。
So this one gate kind of actually has two functions. So it's the southern gate for the altar of prayer for good harvest. That area we're in just now, including the big hall, very famous hall.
Yes.
And it's also the north gate for the circular mound altar,
yeah.
right, which we'll be heading to in a second.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, look at all these trees.
Yeah.
And I have to say, you guys have done such a good job of preserving these trees and preserving this nature.
那么这些树呢，其中有很多树啊，都是非常古老的树。那天坛里面一共是有4万多棵树，那其中呢3562棵是古树。
So there's around 40,000 trees in this whole complex, right?
Yes.
And you said 3,652?
3,562.
Sorry, 3,562, which are 古老, which are very ancient. Now, what is your definition of ancient then?
你可以看到，在这个树上挂着一个红色的牌子。这个牌子呢，红色代表树龄是在300岁以上。
300以上。
如果是绿色的话呢，代表树龄在100到300岁之间。
Okay, I'm gonna give it a little scan. So actually, what he's saying is that all of the cards that are red, that symbolizes 300 years and older, right?
Yeah, more than 300
years. All the cards that are green are 100 years and older.
100 years and older, yes.
Okay. So that's actually very interesting. Look at that. Yeah. So it has the name.
You, the position, the year when it was planted, and how high it is.
Yeah.
And it's wide, and who is responsible for preserving them.
But I mean, this is very personalized. It's a picture of this tree.
Yes.
And it's got all of its information. So you're telling me that every single card
attached to a different tree. And so it is like that every tree has its own passport or ID card.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. So that's over 3,000 of these ID cards. That means 3,000 entries for a database of these trees. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Wow.
那在这里咱们就能看到一个绿色的牌子，就是代表这个树龄在100到300岁之间。
Okay, so you actually really see. So this is a green card, and you can see it's a lot smaller, right? Still 100 years old. I mean, still very big.
Yeah, over 100 years old, but less than 300.
But certainly that one, that's super impressive. The one that we just saw, the red one, right?
Yes.
Super duper impressive.
The most famous tree here in this temple.
Okay. So you can really tell from the trunk itself. It's very, very beautiful indeed.
Yeah. It looks like there are many dragons on it, so it's named the Nine Dragon Cypress.
The Nine Dragon Cypress.
那在这边呢，这个还要给大家介绍一个非常有趣的树，就是这棵啊。
Wow.
这个树你觉得像什么呢？
It looks like maybe a person dancing, maybe.
其实这是 no， 其实这是像的是一棵树呢，是像一个人在指天一样。这是一个画家为这棵树起的名字叫问天柏。那这个问天柏呢，就指的像是中国古代的爱国诗人屈原在问天一样。
Okay, so there's actually a very interesting branch up there attached to a tree, and it's called the 问天树，是吧？
问天柏。
问天柏 which means
cypress.
asking
Sky.
Asking the sky.
Oh.
Right. Very beautiful, very interesting.
So there are a lot of interesting trees here in this temple.
I think what really strikes me about this place of the Temple of Heaven more than other temples, other parks, is just how much preservation of nature there is. Right, so you said there's 3,600 of these ancient trees? 3,562 of these ancient trees, and then altogether 40,000 trees in the entire complex.
So there are a lot of trees.
And I guess to me what it really says is how important the connection is between human and nature in our time now, as we talk more about sustainability and stuff, but also back in those days.
People already know how to keep balance between human and nature, and to preserve the nature, to protect nature.
Yeah. And you can really see it and really feel it here in this complex.
It's a very ideal place for feeling this. 好了，那咱们现在呢就要去下一个景点，叫做黄琼屿。
请进。请进一人。
Wow, look at this. Very beautiful.
那么前面这里呢，就是咱们下一个要参观的地方，叫做黄琼屿。那么黄琼屿
，This is the Imperial Vault of Heaven.
Yes.
Wow, what a grand sounding name, huh?
Yeah. 黄琼屿呢，它是在古代的时候存放神仙的神位，还有祖先神位的地方。那所以说呢，在有祭祀典礼的时候呢，神位就会拿去祭祀；但在没有祭祀典礼的时候呢，就存放在这里保存。所以这边相当于是神仙的一个宿舍，这么一个意思。
That's a very funny story, actually. So, this is where they would place the tablets. The tablets that represented God. They'd place them in this hall itself, right? And so it's almost as if it's a dormitory for God himself.
Yes. When there were no worship ceremonies. 那么咱们可以看到，在这个黄琼屿的正前方第3块石板这个石板呢比较特殊，它叫3音石。
3音石。
对，就如果站在上面击掌一次，最多是可以听到3声回声的。要不要试一试
？Okay, so it's called 3音石, which kind of means like three echo stones.
Yeah.
So he says that if I clap
once,
I should hear it 3 times.
3 times of echoes.
Okay, let's try. All right, here we go. Like this, right?
Yeah, like this.
3, 2.
Okay, hear it.
One more time.
Yeah, 3 times of echoes.
Okay. That's very interesting, huh? What happens if you stand on the other stones, though? There's still an echo, right? Because of the nature of this place.
If you stand on the second stone, there will be twice.
2 echoes.
First stone only once.
Okay. So interesting.
那咱们现在呢，就来参观一下这个黄琼屿。
So this one actually looks similar to the one from the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvest.
Yes, it looks the same.
Like a compact version. Gosh, look at the details everywhere.
那刚才咱们在这个祈年殿里会发现很多的这个数字，那么在这边呢也有数字。
So you're telling me that just like at the previous hall that we visited, there's a lot of symbolism in the numbers.
Yes, numbers.
And I guess we're going to have a look at that right now.
好了，那咱们现在到了这个黄琼屿，你可以找找有什么数字呢？
Okay, so there's 8 major columns here.
对
8 of them.
Yeah, 8 of them. 这8根柱子呢是代表8个方向，东西南北、东南东北、西南西北。
Okay. So the reason they use the number 8 is because it represents the different directions. So north, south, west, and east, and then things like northwest, southeast, etc. So altogether 8 of them.
8 of them, yes. 那还有一些其他的数字8，你能不能找一找？给你个提示吧，咱们往上看看。
Okay. So he's saying that there's another number, something related to 8, and it's actually up on the roof. So it looks to me like, so it looks like multiples of 8. Is that
对
correct?
就是在中间这个金龙的四周围的小方格，数字是8的倍数。
So at the top on the ceiling, it's not 8 itself, it's 16, so it's a multiple of 8.
那么
Very interesting.
咱们再可以往地上看，在地上中间有一块圆形的石头，然后四周围是有9圈石板，那每圈呢都是8块或者8块的倍数。然后呢，这些石板加在一起，一共是有360块。
Okay, so in the middle, there's a round circular stone.
Yes.
Right, and around it there are how many? 9?
9 rings.
9 rings of stone.
Yeah.
And then, going outwards is another
Yes.
9 rings.
Each ring has the number of multiples of 8.
Multiples of 8.
And altogether there are 360 stones.
Wow, the symbolism here is really fantastic. I mean, 360 representing a full circle.
Full circle. Yes.
I mean, it's incredible that 600 years ago they were thinking so deeply in terms of the symbolism, the numbers, and of course the mathematics.
Yes, all the mathematics. Right. Yes, and 360 could also mean a circle. It also means heaven, because heaven is round.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just as we were talking about before, when the reason that the Temple of Heaven is round, the 360 degrees also represents heaven.
Round. Yeah.
Very incredible, really incredible.
那 Lucia， 你看到咱们四周围有一个围墙，那么这个围墙呢叫回音壁。那么它就是2个人，一个人站在这边，然后另外一个人站在对应的另外一边，2个人都冲着这边讲话，是可以互相听到对方声音的。
Okay, so what he's telling me is that apparently this is called the echo wall, right? So apparently if one of us stands on this side and another one stands right on the other side, if we talk into that direction, we should be able to hear each other.
Yes. So,
and you've tried this many times,
yes,
and it works.
Yes.
Okay,
Have a try on that.
I would really love to try. I'm really excited to try this.
Okay,
All right, so I'm gonna,
here, and you
okay, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Talk to you in a second. Huh, that's interesting, huh? I'm, because in a lot of these historical sites, there's always some kind of legend, there's some kind of stories talking about almost supernatural things like this. I'm very interested to try this out myself. And he seems pretty confident, right? He says he's done this many times before, so let's see what happens. All right, so I think I found a very good spot over here. So let's have a see. Okay, so he says, when we're here, still talking to the direction of where he is. Okay, let's try. Hello? Oliver. Hello?
Lucia， 能听到吗？
Oh my God, I can hear it. Wow. Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you as well.
Oh my.
It's very clear, right?
Wow, that's almost kind of eerie. It's almost kind of scary that I can hear. I mean, I can really hear his voice. I mean, he's standing all the way over there, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I could really, I mean, it felt like his voice was, it felt like he was standing right next to me, right? His voice is almost disembodied from him. And he was just standing right next to me and talking to me, even though he's all the way over there. Wow, it's like an early version of telephones. So, actually, it's not just the symbolism here that really impresses me. It's also the incredible technology as well. I mean, they must have used a lot of technology to actually create this huge complex with these very complicated architectural designs, right? Not using nails, not using any metals, everything completely made out of wood in terms of just very good carpentry, having this echo wall, all of these things. I mean, it really mounts up to something that's so much more than just a temple. It's a technological, cultural, historical, and also natural site of real significance. And I cannot believe this was built over 600 years ago. Yes. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. So now we're going to the next place, the circular Mount altar.
Wow.
那咱们现在呢就进入到了圆丘坛。
Okay.
这座白色的汉白玉石台就是圆丘坛。
So this is the circular mound altar.
对。
And you can really see why it's called the circular mound altar, because it's huge and it's very round. I mean, very obviously round.
Very huge altar. 现在咱们回头看啊，咱们会发现，这边是有3座门。那你会发现中间那个门是最大的，然后右边那个门其次，然后左边门是最小的。
Okay. So again, along with the same rule of before, the middle road is for God, right?
Yeah,
and so that's the biggest one. And then these 2 doors are actually a little bit different, right?
Yes. The right one is the medium side, and the left one the smallest.
This is the smallest one. So that would have been for the emperor.
For the emperor. Yeah.
And this one would have been for the officials.
Officials, yes.
Okay. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And really, the symbolism is
It's very important.
Very important. It's actually so mind-blowing because, if I didn't have an expert like you
Yes.
explaining all of this stuff, I think I would have thought, it looks nice or it looks very beautiful.
Yeah.
But I certainly wouldn't have thought about
the numbers.
The numbers and the significance of them.
而且咱们这个石台呢，每一层也都是有9级台阶，用到9。
So there's 9 steps, right? 1, 2,
steps.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 9 steps on each staircase. So this 9, the number 9, what does that represent in Chinese culture then?
实际上在中国的这个人们认为天是阳，然后地是阴，然后奇数是阳，偶数是阴，然后所以9这个数字呢是10以下最大的阳数，所以一般在皇家建筑里面会用到。
Okay, so in Chinese culture, we have the yin and yang, right? And in the yang section, there's odd numbers.
Odd numbers.
And the largest single digit you can go up to is 9.
It's 9, yeah.
Right.
So it is a very positive number in Chinese culture.
Okay, that's very interesting.
然后这边呢还有很多的9，咱们可以看到在中间呢有一个圆形的石头天心石，那在四周围地上呢这是有9圈石板，那每圈呢都是9的倍数，第一圈9块。
So here there's 9 stones, right?
9 stones and
9
18
stones.
and
So
27
then 27.
up to the 9th ring 81.
And so there's actually 9 rings as well.
9 rings, yes, as well.
And then
So
all together it makes up 360,
yes,
just like in there.
Just like in the structure we visit. Just like
Yeah.
this.
Wow. So again, it's that symbolism that's just so incredibly important here. And again, if I didn't have him explaining this, I just wouldn't have understood this at all. So 1 in the center, and then 9 stones, and then multiples of 9 going in layers of 9. Incredible.
另外呢，这个天心石还有一个现象，就是如果您站在上面说话的话，用正常的音量说话，会有一些回声，好像是在空房间里面说话一样，有那种回声感觉。
There's some echo as well.
对对对
Here?
可以试一试。
So if I stand here,
可以感到。
yeah, I can really hear it. That sounds very odd. It's almost like I'm in a very small room.
A small room.
Where I can really feel like I can really hear my own voice.
Yeah.
That's very. But you can hear me. Can you hear an echo here?
Yes.
when I speak
Also,
to you?
I can hear.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind standing here and then talking to me?
No, it's okay. Okay. I've tried that before. 好，那咱们往这边。那这边呢，可以看到在咱们的这个下方有一些炉子。这个绿色的那个最大的炉子呢，是用来给这个皇天上帝焚烧祭品的。这边还有几个小炉子，是给皇帝祖先焚烧祭品。
So over there are actually some ovens.
Ovens, yeah.
Right, or burners, and you can actually imagine them like full of burning foods, fire basically, right?
Firewood,
right? So you actually imagine these actually, I mean, these are massive burners, really, really big. Probably how high are they? Almost as high as us, right? For sure. I mean, they're huge pieces.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the ceremony and the atmosphere with them just burning a light full of fire. And then there's the green burner there, right? The green oven.
It was used for the God of Heaven.
And that was specifically for the God of Heaven himself. Very interesting.
And also you can see that there is a huge pole.
Oh yeah.
它呢叫做望灯杆。 这个望灯杆呢，实际上在古代就是挂灯笼用的。古代的时候呢，皇帝来祭祀的时候，会在冬至日的凌晨4点就来这儿祭祀。当时天会很黑，所以说呢就要用作灯笼。
And that's actually an original. That piece of wood has been there for how
No,
long?
it was repaired in 1994.
1994. Okay.
The original ones were broken in the old days.
Okay. Because it's more like bare wood,
Yeah.
right? So I guess it will need to be replenished every now and then. Okay, so what he was saying is that huge pole. How tall is that pole, by the way?
It's about 27 meters.
27 meters.
Yes.
That huge pole was used for hanging lanterns.
Hanging lanterns.
Right,
yes.
and what they would hang it at the top? Or?
At the top.
Oh my god! So they would manage to get a lantern all the way to the top, and the lantern was 2 meters wide.
2 meters. 2 meters wide
Yeah.
and 4 meters tall.
And 4 meters high.
Yeah.
And because back then, of course, when they started the ceremonies, no electricity. They started the ceremonies at 4 a.m. So they have to get a lantern high up there and then flood the place with light. Now, when they use a lantern, I mean, the lanterns, of course, they could also last for a very long time, up to 12 hours, right?
12 hours, yes.
Now, do you know how much they could light up with this lantern? How much of the area they could light up?
The whole altar.
The whole altar with one lantern up there?
With 3 lanterns. Originally, there were 3 poles.
Ah,
there
so
were
there's 3
originally
areas there.
lanterns. So they could light up all this altar, the circular mount altar.
So you're saying from that corner,
Yeah, from the corner.
they could light up enough to fill this place with light?
This place, yes.
That's very, very interesting.
Yep.
Okay, well, I mean, this has been a fantastic experience. Really, really special. I'm really grateful for it. I understand that this place is actually a lot bigger than what we've seen. Is that correct?
Yes. This place is about 3 times larger than the Forbidden City.
Wow, 3 times larger?
Yeah, Forbidden City is about 70 hectares, and this Temple of Heaven is 270 hectares.
Wow, okay. That's massive. And so we've only seen a very small portion, right? Along the central axis.
Along the central axis.
Okay. Well, look, I'm really grateful for the time, and I'm very sorry to say that we are coming to an end. But before we do finish, we've got some ending questions from our live viewers. So here we go. I'll take a look now. So our reader asks, first they say thank you very much. It's a very fantastic tour.
Thank
But they ask, you've explained and you've shown us the complex itself, but can you please explain the process of the ceremony to help visualize what the ritual sacrifice would look like?
Of course. When the heaven worshiping ceremony was held, in the center, in the north, in the center there will be placed the tablet of the God of Heaven. And the tablets of the emperor's ancestors would be placed on both sides. And the emperor would come to the top of this altar to kneel down to each tablet and pray for 9 times. And during his praying, some musicians and dancers will play sacrificial music and dance on the southern square of this circular mount altar. And after the praying, all the sacrifices put in front of the tablets would be transferred to those ovens to be burnt. And when the emperor standing here saw the smoke rising to the sky, and he believed that the emperors or the God of Heaven had already received those sacrifices. So the whole ceremony was done.
Wow.
So it's a very
it's
a very complicated process.
Yeah. God, I kind of almost wish I could see it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
In the modern times, do you still have recreations?
No, only you can see it in the ancient books.
Ancient books.
Yes.
Okay. But you don't have performances once a year?
No.
Okay.
No,
All right.
performance. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Well, look. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to the viewers of the Discover China live stream, we'll see you next time. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.